Hello and welcome to the Ballcard Show, Season 5, Episode 25, fresh back from the Natty. This is the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
I'm Jason.
I'm Gary.
And we are glad that you're joining us for a very special national recap / telling
Hobby State of the Hobby Address.
Hobby State of the Hobby Address.
Yeah,
I like that. The Hobby State of the Hobby.
I just wasn't sure exactly.
It's got
where
a nice
I was
ring to it.
I just wasn't sure where I was going there.
Yeah, you have a way with words, sir.
I do. I like your hat.
You do?
Yeah, I know you don't like mine, but I do like yours. That's old school Ultimate Fighting.
Yeah,
hat.
back in the day when there weren't weight
Ken
classes.
Shamrock. Yeah.
Elbows directly down into the face.
Yeah, little Brazilian guys climbing on top of like giant dudes.
Gracie's
choking
just
them out.
Gracie's just messing dudes up. Yeah, it was simpler times. Simpler times. Yeah. Anyway, let's jump right in. Hobby news. We're gonna do a full national recap, reflections on a lot of things we've seen. No doubt, if you're consuming this card content across YouTube, wherever you get this, we may not be the first ones to the table, but we have our own perspective. We were out there Wednesday through Saturday, and then we said we are out of here. We don't need to see another person.
Yeah, or another shiny
or each other.
Card.
We were ready to come home. We were ready to come home. But before we jump into that, quick reminder to you, every single Wednesday and Thursday, the Ballcard Show is live on Whatnot, our handle at the Ballcard Show, all one word. Wednesdays, we've been running a low-end lot show. Thursdays, we run singles. We ran a really fun show during the National.
Yeah.
Everything we sold last week on the show was sourced on the national floor, and we really tried to target that modern era, the mid-late 90s inserts through like 2010.
It was awesome.
Found so much fun stuff. We'll be running more of that.
I was super excited to run that show,
Yeah.
and for the next probably 2-3 weeks, you'll see a lot of that because we bought a lot of it.
Yep,
so.
we bought a lot. Also, with the Wednesday show, we've now run 2 Wednesday shows, and I did a pop-up lot show on Sundays.
Yep.
We'll be honest. We've been getting kicked in the teeth on those pretty bad. The idea, as we were starting that out, was just, hey, if it's something that I would list on the low-end stuff, lot it up, let people get a good deal. A lot of it's left over. The problem we ran into is, with Whatnot, even on the low-end stuff, if the names aren't the right names,
Yeah.
the auctions are just going to kind of stall out. So you'll start noticing on Wednesday some singles, some lots. We'll probably elevate the name list a little more. And then also, Gary and I will both be joining, so you get the full experience every Wednesday.
3 times a week now. You get it all.
Yep. So every Wednesday at noon Eastern, and then every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be running shows. Come hang out with us. You don't have to buy anything. If you want to, you can. We're messing with all these different formats. So
tons of giveaways. So stick your head in, say hey.
So now that we've promoted ourselves,
Yep.
let's talk about some hobby news.
Let's do it.
Nationals last week, but I want to put that on the back burner, get through some of the more ancillary, important details.
We're going to go full deep dive.
We are doing a full deep dive on the National. The first thing that I want to talk about is the National location being selected for 2028.
Yep.
Now, what's surprising to me is the first day of the show. Do you remember we were talking with somebody at a table? I can't remember who it was. I wish I could. But they were saying that Atlanta just pitched they just gave their pitch for the National to be in Atlanta in 28, and then Detroit gave theirs. And what we heard on the floor was Detroit just kind of walked up and said, hey, we're Detroit, hope you'll have us. And Atlanta had put out like a whole presentation, and everybody's like, we're definitely going to be going to Atlanta. I mean, the Detroit didn't even try. And wouldn't you know it, 2028, it will be at Detroit.
Yeah.
I don't hate this play.
I don't either. It's
Summertime.
Yeah.
Atlanta's hot.
Yes.
Detroit might be cooler.
Might be.
Reason number 2, you and I can finally make a trip over to Windsor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just hop on the ferry and go. Let's do it.
The Atlantic City of Canada.
Yeah. Well, we
some would
didn't
say.
even try to go to the casino in Chicago.
No, we weren't going to play that game. I like that location because everything's super central. Detroit, especially downtown, is on a little bit of a comeback.
Drive.
It's a more central location.
Yeah.
Don't hate it. So we've got 2 more years in Chicago, which, by the way, the venue was quite an upgrade. We'll get into that in a moment. And then we'll be in Detroit after that. I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool. It's a really good collector base. I will say, anytime we do shows in like the northern Indiana area, anywhere even
Detroit
close,
stuff goes nuts.
The Detroit market, their fan base, they're very devout. Obviously, the baseball team is having a little bit of a time this year, and so anyway, it's been cool to see that. So 2028 National Detroit. Let's jump into product releases. One high-end product that I still love to see ripped every year.
Yeah.
whether I would ever buy a box at full price or even break.
Nope.
National Treasures football drops this week, today, the day that we're recording this. High-end product, quarterback classes, there's a little bit of excitement around it, but be sure, like, the timing of this, like, the big cards that are hit out of that this week are going to fetch a big price because the timing is perfect with training camp, speculation, hype, what could be with the next season.
I haven't looked yet. What do you think that thing releases at
I haven't even looked. I will say
4K?
this.
4K a box?
More than you're thinking is what I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think 4 is probably right.
Yeah, Panini is going to try. I mean, they're going to try.
Oh, for sure. It's what the market will bear. Now, the good news for Panini is all the repackers will buy it, and not the repackers, but the breakers will buy it, and they'll get their money. So,
do you like it as a product?
Just
the product.
Just the product itself, not particularly. A product that's that expensive shouldn't have sticker autos, and like 80% of the autos in the product are sticker autos.
That's a good point.
So, like, that's a big issue for me. It's why I prefer Flawless, but the market prefers NT. The true quarterback rookie cards are the of 99 numbered non-inserts, and they're going to go for insane money.
Yep.
But for me, a product that's that expensive, there should not be sticker autos anywhere on it. When it was a hard to believe 7 years ago, when it was a $600 product, $700 product, it wasn't that big of a deal.
Sure.
But for $4 or $5K a box,
yeah. Now, I will say on that product, one thing I do like is you get some of the deep track vets that people have a big PC base for, and you can get in some of those really nice vet patch autos. I mean, low end, $50, $200, $300
on the high end.
Yeah, and you can find some really cool stuff for like the type of guys you collect. Really, like Luke Kuechly, that kind of stuff is really good.
Yep.
For me, like Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, some of those guys that may not be tier 1 PC players, but they're in that checklist. So that's
number
something
one in
that
our
I like.
hearts.
Yeah, number one in our hearts. Now, if you're somebody that is buying players, the recommendation that we always give with a product like this, you're much better off on the value side of it unless you just want to open product. Let the product release, give it a few months, go back after the market softens a little bit and it's adjusted, and buy the singles of the players that are kind of established. It's a way to remove a little bit of volatility. It's not just the big rookie chase, but I still love the product. I would never spend that kind of money opening that just with the volatility, but it's a nice one. Similar theme. A good place to get autos, although this is not a product that people get super excited about.
No.
Archive Signatures series. So you have a really deep vet checklist for the most part.
Brutally deep.
Deep. The reason I love it is my dog is always on that checklist.
Yeah.
Eric Davis, Mr. Red, number 44.
It's one card. It used to be a $60 box. Now it's a $150 box. And there's a very good chance that you're going to get a Todd Hundley numbered to 99.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're on card. Yeah, they're sealed. But you talk about a lottery ticket product that has lower upside than you would possibly think and much higher downside.
So just a few years ago, this product was like $60, $70 a box.
Yeah.
Where is it? Do you have an idea?
140, 150.
So the value on it sealed is they're really baking some in there.
Yeah.
And a reminder, a 101 stamped auto.
These are all buybacks.
They're buybacks. This is not the same as a pack pulled 101 out of Topps Chrome. It's very different. If you already know this, it seems obvious to you, but those of you that are just kind of getting introduced to wax, these ones where they're buyback products, the scarcity is not quite there. They'll have a 101 this year, a 101 next year, 20 101s. Like, it's going to be a heavy one. And they're not always on the best designed cards. Now, the reason I like collecting Eric Davis out of that is it's a lot of times these buyback throwbacks to a junk wax era that never would have had a serial number, would not have had an on-card auto. Yep. And I like those things about it. But when it comes to the resale value of that product, it can be a little rough.
When you grab a Todd Zeal 101.
Yep.
That's no fun.
2 Topps Finest products dropping. I'll let you take it away since I'm yakking so much. Topps Finest Baseball and Topps Finest Basketball will be releasing in the next couple weeks.
Very simple. Finest Baseball is a great product. The price point is reasonable for what it is. you want to keep very much in mind that it is not going to hold the value of Topps Chrome, but it's also not as expensive as Topps Chrome. And this is long-term a really good thing. It's a much shorter printed product. Not that it's super short printed, but in comparison to like Topps Chrome or Flagship or anything like that, it's a much lower printed product. Topps Finest Basketball, I mean, it's an unlicensed basketball product right now. Coming on a year without a huge, great rookie class.
Yeah.
Like,
just the images they're posting are just like LeBron's autos maybe in here.
Yeah.
Like that's what you're chasing.
Yeah, the design
Unlicensed.
last year was kind of, and this year it's a little better, but it's not
Yeah,
great.
last year they were trying to do like full-blown Nickelodeon design.
Yeah, it wasn't great. This
Like-
year it's a little better, but it's not great.
It was cheesy.
Yeah. I'd just love to see
It
them
was just
carry
a
the
really
finest
cheesy
designs
design.
across the products like they used to.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Finest was like a standard of like, this is quality. It looks like a little bit of a step up.
And every set looked very similar.
Yes.
Just the sport was
Yeah.
different.
And the throwback look, it still holds up. Now, we're biased. Obviously,
Sure.
that's an era and a set that we love. But there's nothing wrong with the throwback. Bring back the peel. Do it all, baby. I'd love to see them, or if they just randomly inserted that. Now, if that's in the product, I don't know. Correct me on the internet there. But, yeah, Finest Baseball is one that I like.
Yeah.
If you're going to rip one, I mean, again, it's high volatility. We don't ever encourage ripping wax for investment in any kind of way. But
If you're
Topps
gonna rip
Finest
something.
is a decent price point
Yeah.
for that.
Correct.
Also, if you're getting in a break of that, get into like a case or two. If you're going to do that, and then pick a team that has a decent enough rookie class to carry it. Look at the checklist. Who's actually in here? Who
And
has an autograph in here?
Find the sneaky teams that don't have a great rookie list, but have really good vet autos on the checklist.
That's a good point. Yep.
That's also something that's worth doing when you're going that deep. Like the teams with the big rookies are going to be like the A's are going to be unaffordable.
Yep.
But I imagine there are 2 or 3 teams that have pretty deep vet checklists for autos. I'd be very interested to see if Griffey is on the checklist for the Reds and the Mariners as an auto. Things like that you can dive for and find some good deals to chase those higher end vet autos.
Yep. New to me, you brought this up. I think I saw a video yesterday, but I hadn't connected the dots because when you're coming off a National Week, just like those of you watching or listening, like you have been bombarded and saturated with
information.
all the latest breaking news. But you were saying last night you scanned a PSA slab on the app, or it wasn't on the app.
Yes, on PSA's
on PSA's app.
Yes.
You scan the slab, and a cash offer pops up on the app.
Yes.
Did you click it just to see what happens?
I did not.
You were scared.
I wasn't scared. I didn't like the offer.
Oh.
You know me. If it's the right offer, I'll sell to whoever. I don't care where the money's coming
PSA
from.
can have it. Yeah.
So this is something that is happening. If you haven't noticed this, I encourage you, open up your PSA app, scan the QR code on the back of a slab, and see what happens. If there is existing sales data for the card that's strong enough for PSA to, whatever algorithm they're using, create a value for it, you're going to see a cash offer from PSA pop up right underneath the picture of the card when it comes up on your app, which is very interesting because why is PSA buying cards at 90 to 95%?
What
Like,
would be the
that's
reason for that?
What would be the reason for that? Now, we talked a couple weeks ago about the PSA certified repack product that Jeff Wilson has put out through Cards HQ called
Graded Grails, yeah.
Which, to be perfectly frank, we have watched some of that stuff be opened. The floors aren't close to what they were advertised at.
Like what? Oh, timeout.
Yeah.
I'm jumping in.
Okay.
Repackers, help me understand why we have to lie about the floor.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
People jumping into products understand they're taking a risk. Make that very clear up front. If the floor is $100, it's a $100 floor. These are all certified by PSA. It doesn't change anything. But within 1 week, you have lost the credibility of this product, not by people running conspiracy theories. What are they doing?
Opening
They're
your
opening the
product.
freaking product.
Yeah. What'd you say? That product is supposed to be, what, $140 floor?
140, 150. It's supposed to be a percentage. I can't remember.
40%.
Was it 40, 45? I
40,
couldn't remember.
Of a $300 thing. So $130 floor. Like, one of the bigger YouTube guys out there, Pac-Man, who opens $10,000-$20,000 worth of product a week on his channel, opened some of this stuff and hit a PSA 9 base Amen Thompson rookie Prism signature, which is like a $50 card.
50 to 100.
Yeah. So, and 100 was probably
so it's 33% away from the peak.
from what it was advertised as. Like Jason said, why lie? All you do is kick yourself in the teeth. It doesn't make sense to do. And it's not just Jeff's product. We see it across the board, whether it's, the big whatnot breakers that have their own repacks. You see this. We see it with TikTok breakers. We see it here with Jeff.
We see it with the card show dealers with their bubble mailer repacks at card shows. Either don't say what the floor and ceiling is.
Correct.
Or say it and be honest about it. That's what I don't understand. Like, there are high volatility repackers out there that are just flat out saying, hey, you're doing this break. There is a huge card in here. Here's the huge card. Everything else is not the huge card.
Yeah.
And if you understand that information and you decide to buy into that break, that's a decision for you. Maybe you like to gamble like that.
Now, do we think that people who are doing that kind of a repack are doing it in a way that we would ever buy into? No, but at least they're being honest about it.
True.
What really bothers us, and if you're on TikTok in the sports card world right now, even just as a content consumer, not a creator,
it's everywhere, man.
There is some major drama happening right now. We're not going to mention any names because right now all we have are allegations of things happening. But I will say this again, no matter who you are or what you're doing, if you find yourself in a position where what you're doing feels like the old 3-card Monte game, that's probably not the right way to do things.
Yeah.
Right?
Unless that's what you're there for.
Yeah, and if you're a buyer, here's what we would tell you, regardless of who the repacker is. Before you spend any money in somebody's repack, just sit in their room and watch them rip for a while. Have Card Ladder up on your phone. Look and see what they say their floor and ceiling is. Have Card Ladder up on your phone and just comp the cards for a while.
Now, and I'll add to that too. There are people that don't talk about the values of cards who are ethically in a range that seems to make sense. There are people that say, here's the number and there's the number. But by gosh, you watch enough of those, it seems like they only pull floors out of there.
Yeah.
There's so many ways for it to break down. But anybody that would push back on you saying to check the values of what's being hit in a product, that's the red flag.
Yeah.
Now, should you be hopping on everybody? Look, when we're on Whatnot, we try to run, like, we don't run high-end cards. We run, like, affordable cards, but they are typically a little bit unique.
Yep.
If there's anything we specialize in, we really try to find the cool late 90s to 2010 stuff. And there are cards all the time that will go under the comp by 50%, and there are cards that will go over the comp by 50%. They're probably, the ones going over a comp are a card that you just don't see that often, and you probably won't see again for a few years, even if it's not that valuable.
We're running 4 cards this week that have never sold before.
Do we think that they're huge cards?
No, that doesn't mean they're
we
huge.
don't even think they're big cards.
They're rare.
They're just rare
They're
and
just
collectible.
rare.
So when somebody jumps in our feed and they start talking comps, I can understand for any repacker how frustrating that may be because somebody's only seeing this box and not the whole case, right?
Yeah.
These cases that are built and sealed and, what they have, if they have a list or whatever, like we don't see all that's gone into that. You get a little window. So if you're wading into this and you're nervous because you're hearing all this drama, just spend an hour on a stream. See what cards are hit. Now, the ones where the floors are low might have really big ceilings.
Sure.
And if you see those in there, you just got to decide, am I willing to play this game? Or do I want less volatility? And maybe for you, it makes more sense to be at a $30 to $40 repack where it's a $10 for like Juice Box is one that we ran. There's $10 cards in there. They advertise it. They tell you. They give you a date on the box of when it was comped. Like, you get a feel for it. But if you're looking for $500 cards, well, that product that we opened is never going to be the right product for you.
No, but it's a much lower volatility product.
So for some people, that makes more sense. Just have an idea what you're looking at. The drama on TikTok right now with all this is interesting to me because it's like we saw this on other platforms with breaking over the last couple years, or what should somebody be charging for wax, or this LCS. One thing we'll talk about here in just a minute is it is so clear that the whole concept of comps is changing. The way people consider them, where they're buying and selling. So again, there's all these allegations. It is easy to grab one person's video and say, this is what's happening, and everybody rally around it.
Yeah.
It is better for all of us to digest the information, see what's actually going on, draw our own conclusions.
Well, I think that's the key.
Yeah.
You don't. Yes, I realize that there are people. And trust me when I say we realize this, because the biggest clip we've ever had on TikTok was so many fanboys coming to the defense of the indefensible.
Sure.
So we realize there are going to be fanboys for anybody. But I'm a firm believer that the vast majority of people, if they just sit back and watch for a little while, can draw their own conclusions, and most of them will draw the same conclusion. If you're not sure about whether you want to spend money with somebody, sit back, watch them for a little while.
Yeah.
And then decide. Run comps on the cards you see. Pay attention to their personality.
Mm-hmm.
You may just have a repacker that you just like who they are.
That's a great point.
You like their community, and you're okay with taking bigger risks or kind of getting burnt here and there.
And taking bigger losses.
Yeah, because you enjoy their content and what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your full-on play here is you want the best bang for your buck when you're getting into a repack, the only way to guarantee that, or at least come close to it, is to stop and watch for a little while and decide if this is a place that does what they say they're going to do and it makes sense for you.
One more thing I'll say about repacks that a year ago I never would have said.
Okay.
Because it's just only getting worse. If you don't like your return on investment with repacks, for the love of God, do not look at the return of investment on wax.
Yeah, don't buy wax. It's brutal.
Did you see, what is it, that Brooklyn club? What's that called? Montgomery Club?
Yeah.
So there's like a credit, right, towards a product. Sapphire. Did you see the release price?
No.
$479.
Yeah, for Montgomery Club members.
Yeah.
I used to be a Montgomery Club member every year, and 2 years ago I stopped because they got rid of the exclusive. So Sapphire used to be Montgomery Club members only.
Yeah.
You couldn't buy it if you weren't a Montgomery Club member direct. You could buy it from shops or anything else, but you couldn't buy it direct from Tops. Then they opened it up to everybody else, and Montgomery Club members got like $10 off a box.
Clever Cuban did a really good piece of content on that.
Yeah,
just
but
talking
the
through it.
cost of Montgomery Club didn't change.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so I mean, look at all of it. Now, we sound doom and gloom. What's our space? We're not repackers.
No.
We're not. We buy singles, we sell singles. That's what
Yes.
we do. So take that for what it's worth. There's some of you that are like, you guys are the boring old dudes at the show. Yes, that's
we
us.
are. It's
so
okay.
that's our perspective. Now, having said that, down the road, as we look into more of these stories, if there's like, hey, here's hard evidence of boom, 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 boom.
Oh, at that
like,
point, we'll start dropping names.
We have not been afraid to do that at any point.
No. But until we actually have something other than accusations and what's the word I'm looking for? What's the word in a court where it's not hard evidence, but
ask me for a big word on the spot. Great job.
Yeah, hopefully you guys know what I mean.
No,
I
you
can't
have to
think
come
of
up
the
with
word
it.
now.
Come on. What's the word?
That's not going to help at all.
I know.
Circumstantial.
Circumstantial evidence.
Other than circumstantial evidence and accusations, we're never going to drop people's names. That's not who we are.
And here's a quick reminder that you're living on social media. You can, hear me out, you can mute people.
Yeah.
You can choose not to even
engage.
Like if you just can't handle it, just block it.
Yeah.
But having said that, if people are doing like blatantly shady things, we're going to talk about it at some point.
Yeah. Yep. We will, and it's not something that we have any fear of doing, but we also are not going to do it without actual
digging
evidence of it, right?
So. Which, by the way, it was refreshing as we walked the national floor. You know, we covered the Chad Smith story, that huge Ponzi scheme that's been going on. At least in the last few years, we heard rumors it was going back
25 years.
A dealer pulls us aside at the national, and one of the, I mean, it was they probably had 8-10 tables. Like it was a big booth, and says, "Thanks for running that story. I was scammed by this dude as
20
well
years
as
ago.
every LCS in Indiana with bad checks
Yeah.
20 years ago."
Yeah.
And the guy would keep, and so it was a little bit refreshing for them to see. It's out there at least. It's
Yes.
common knowledge. It's not just a whisper. So when we see that stuff, we're going to talk about. Anyway, that was a whole lot of dancing around something. Maybe it's a teaser. Hopefully it's not.
Yeah,
I hope
hopefully
we
it's
don't
not.
have to cover a story like that, but watch what you're doing. Find where the value is for your own eyes. Do the homework. Pull up the comps. Make a decision for yourself.
Correct.
Topps Chrome MVP buyback. Now we brought this up a couple weeks ago, and almost jokingly, like, what if Aaron Judge is injured and Cal Raleigh's not on the checklist?
Here we are.
Aaron Judge is injured and Cal Raleigh's not on the checklist.
Yeah.
So what happens if Judge is out for like 3 or 4 more weeks? Is he still?
Well, if Judge is out for 3 or 4 more weeks and Raleigh keeps doing what he's been doing, then I guess there's no AL MVP buyback this year.
Which makes it the worst Topps Chrome launch at that price point, right?
Yeah.
Because they're baking in this with the price. That's how, I gotta know how it happened. Like, there's not been any comment on this, has
The
there?
only thing that makes sense, we talked about this earlier.
that's right,
All
yep.
that makes sense to me, and I haven't verified this, so I could be completely wrong. But the only thing that makes sense to me is that Cal Raleigh is not a member of the MLBPA.
Is there a way for us to easily find that out?
We'd have to look it up. We'd have to go to the MLBPA website and then check the member roll.
Well, that's way too much work before an episode.
But I think that's the only thing that makes sense. And there are guys in the league that choose not to be part of the MLBPA.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, that would make sense because Topps probably went to him and said, "Hey, can we get an individual license?" And he told them how much it would be, and they went, "Oh yeah, no, that's not going to happen."
You're like, what are you going to be, the MVP?
Yeah. So
I'm the home run derby champ.
yeah, and leading the majors in home runs and hitting 265. And if Judge misses another month, I mean, Judge is only going to end up playing 120 games.
Yep.
It's going to be really hard to justify him winning the MVP.
Fanatics will be begging them, please.
Yeah.
Please. Okay, let's jump into the National. You ready?
I'm ready. This should be fun.
I'm excited. Here, we're going to give a full breakdown on everything we saw, and there's no way we can cover what everybody wants us to on the National, but we've just got some highlights of some things that we want to do. So let's talk through first our buying strategy for the National. So the first thing I want to say to you is you've been to several of these.
Yes.
I've been to a couple of them. At this point, some of the things that I'm learning is it is easy to be convinced that because there's so many people and so many tables that it is a mad dash. Let me assure you, if you feel like you have to hit everything and see everything and buy everything that's a good deal, you will be exhausted in one day, and you will, and there is no way you'll be able to do all that.
No.
The people that seem to really enjoy this take their time, take some breaks, hang out with friends, spend some days where they didn't buy anything, some days where they go look at exhibits, hanging out at trade nights, hotel trade nights. We'll talk about that in a minute. But if you're going to the National, and if you've been, like you saw, it was very people-y, a lot of stuff out there, no way to see everything quickly. How did we buy? So let's start out with the value boxes. So as you know, we do Whatnot. We wanted to come in with a strategy. We did the VIP. We did the VIP All Access with one and VIP with the other, which was totally worth the parking because the traffic coming in and out. We were able to get in the parking garage every time, walk through the catwalk and get in. Like, it was solid. The value boxes. So we were able to source a ton of Whatnot, great deals, bulk pricing, really good value box stuff.
Yep.
People say that it is not possible.
Oh, that's not true.
The people that have been comping, digging, and working for the last year are going to have a good feel for what's in the box. But we were able to source the value boxes really well. Hands down, if you want your greatest profit margin on what you're buying at the National, it's going to look like you digging through boxes for a lot of hours. Now, if you don't want to do that, treat it like an expo, a show. You're only looking for, there's nothing wrong with that, but we found tremendous value in the value boxes.
It's almost like there's two ways to go to the National.
For buying, right?
For buying.
Yeah.
If you're going to the National as a business owner like us, then you have to treat it like 3 days of work. Yes, or 4 days of work, however long you're there. Yes, it's enjoyable, but it's work. Mm-hmm. Your back's going to hurt a little bit from sitting on a stool or sitting on your Zion case. Your feet are going to hurt by the end of the day. You're going to get a little dehydrated because all the places to get drinks are scattered all over the place, and you don't know exactly where they are, so you just keep working. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is you're just going for fun. You're not in this for a business. You're maybe looking for 1 or 2 PC cards. And that's another way to do it. We went into this, for both of us, we looked at it as, one, a vacation for us. You notice we didn't record a podcast last week. That bought us 20 hours that we don't normally have in a week, and it was very refreshing. Matter of fact, we came back from the National very recharged.
Yep.
But when you are going into this, I saw so many people like, I need to spend 20 grand. I need to spend. No,
you don't.
You need to spend the money you need to spend if the deals are there for it to make sense.
Yep.
If you are just spending money for the sake of spending money, it's not going to end super well for you. Yeah. We went in with a budget for the Ballcard Show, and we went 25% over the budget because it made sense.
Which is a good problem.
Yeah, because what we were doing made sense. On the side of the business, for me as a dealer individually, I think I spent $1,000, but it was right. It was the right stuff at the right margins for me. And then the trade nights were also
lucrative.
Fantastic.
The trade nights were lucrative.
But on the show floor itself, I think I spent $900 or so. It was $900 that made sense. Would I have spent more if it made sense? Sure.
Now, you're saying that, but in those transactions was a Shohei Diamond Icons 101, a Kobe on-card auto.
That's trade night stuff, though. I'm talking about on the show floor.
He was moving $3,000 to $5,000 cards.
I'm talking about on the show floor.
Yeah, just what you bought out of showcases.
On the show floor, yes.
Cash out, yeah.
Yes.
I spent more than you on the floor. I came back with some cash I wasn't expecting to, just from moving some stuff at trade nights, just by setting a few cards out. I did learn a few things about buying. So first off, the value boxes, if you know what you're looking for, go for it. What I avoided was if I saw something that is just all ultra modern penny sleeve stuff, it got about 30 seconds of my time.
Yeah.
When I saw value boxes that had a mix, and not just because I like it, but there could be some stuff sleeping there. It could be some Topps Chrome refractors. It could be some stuff that gets a little sneaky that people don't want to mess with. Patches from the early 2000s. If I saw any of that, then I parked.
Yep.
Speaking of parking, you have never heard a string of 4-letter words come out of my mouth more than when I realized that I left my stool in Ohio when we were at the we're on the bypass in Chicago going over the bridge. I was like, no, I didn't have my stool with me, so I had to stand
or sit on your Zion case.
Which I still don't trust. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what anybody says. But yeah, so buying out the value boxes were there. Now, when it came to showcases, I want to talk about if you were going to the National next year, or if you were there this last year, what we saw and what we would recommend if you're considering that in the future. So the first thing I want to talk about is there were showcases where they were very clearly niched down into a lane.
Yeah.
And when that happens, you have the opportunity to find something unique you've been looking for.
2 showcases on one table with 200 Jordan graded PSA rookies in 2 showcases.
Or, hey, here's 10 tables, and it is 80% case hits. And it's just like people buying and flipping that 5 to 10%. Like they're being swarmed, essentially. That stuff was moving. Vintage. Say what you will about pricing, but on a vintage card, the presentation matters so much. There was stuff that was way overpriced, but I had some vintage dealers that offered stronger on some stuff that I had than I was getting at shows. So you have to get a feel for what's there. The honey hole for me when it comes to the National is there's a few things I've learned that I'm looking for.
This is good stuff right here. Listen up.
1, I am looking for what they have in the showcase that's maybe a little different from everything else. I'll give you an example. Can't believe I forgot to grab it. I found a showcase. It was upstairs. We'll talk about upstairs in just a moment, which let's just do it now. Upstairs, great idea. More tables, nowhere near enough room.
Well, and what was real frustrating,
I was like having a panic attack in the aisles. It was awful.
The entire other half of the upstairs was dead ass empty. They could have just spread these aisles 3 feet further apart.
I'm sure there are reasons for that. There are costs involved and all that stuff.
Oh, my God. It was awful.
I literally was using my Zion roller like
4 foot wide aisles.
It was a snowplow.
It was awful.
It was like Mad Max. I was just, anybody in the way's getting it. I'm out of here. It was rough. But I found a showcase where they had a bunch of Jordan stuff, very little baseball. But in the baseball, there was a few cool cards. I asked on a couple of the Jordans, and I looked up comps. I noticed that almost everything that I was comping had a direct comp. It was at the top end 2 months ago, 2 to 3 months. I thought that was interesting. So I go over to the next little showcase that they have there, and it has some baseball in it. I look up a couple more cards. They're still going for the top end, but it was 2 months ago. So then I look at the baseball. There is a Topps Heritage Decal Edge PSA 10 Shohei rookie in there, and a really cool Revolution. What was that insert called? The die cut, the Griffey.
I don't remember, but it's
metal,
a cool card.
barbed wire, something like that. But
Hit machines.
No, it wasn't,
wasn't
hit
Hit
machines. It was something
Machines?
else. It was similar to that, but it was different. It was a Pacific Revolution.
Okay.
Anyway. But when I looked those comps up, they were from 2 months ago. However, the baseball market has moved in the last 2 months. And it was, I know it sounds so simple and elementary to some of you, but do you realize that there are dealers who this is all they do for their cards? They just do the National every year. They maybe do a couple of shows, but this is their main thing. And they price throughout the year as they get closer to the National. So if you're able to find one or two key cards in a lot purchase where they're already 10, 20% under comps because you caught them sleeping essentially, or I'm assuming they bought it right at that time and they've already got their margin in there.
They priced it and didn't reprice it.
You get
It's that
two
simple.
cards like that into the lot, and then you're making an offer. You can bring in the Jordan. You can bring in some of the other stuff that's priced at 110%. And now you're really sitting at like an 80 to 90% value, and you can make an offer there. So I was able to get the Griffey and Shohei. That Shohei has had a PSA 9 pop off for $300 more than I paid for the card at National. Now, the timing's goofy. And they had a PSA 10 pop off for more than double what I paid for it in the last week. Are they outliers? Maybe. But what it's showing is you're able to catch on trend. Now, if I pulled up to that showcase and it was 10 Shoheis in there, guess what I'm not finding? A PSA 10 Shohei rookie
At a deal.
under comps.
Well, and the other thing that comes into play with this, too, you can find out real quick. And Jason was real good about just looking at me and shaking his head. If you ask about a couple of cards and the dealer, this was a very specific dealer I'm thinking of here. There were two Kobe Bryants that I was interested in buying. I kind of got on a little Kobe kick at the National this week because I picked up a really, really nice one for 12 hours. Every one I asked about was 2.5 to 3 times comps and had a reason behind it that made no sense.
Yeah.
And if you ask about one or two cards and you get that, there's no point in asking about the rest of them because they're all going to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
It just is what it is. Don't waste your time trying to find a deal when there isn't one to be found.
Yep.
Reasonable.
Yeah. At the point, and as soon as it becomes a tug of war, it's over. Like, especially like the trade, like you had that Shohei 1 of 1. There were a lot of dealers interested in it, but they were not even willing to. They were super dialed in on the data when they were trying to comp your card.
Yeah.
But they did not want to even consider the last 10 sales, or they're just reaching 30% above. Like, it would be refreshing for me to be like, dude, these tables are expensive. I'm trying to get it back where I can. What are you thinking?
Yeah.
And then if I need to land at 100%, I'm at 120, like, that's what I would do as a dealer. But some of these guys were just so salty that people were constantly asking them for a deal. And to that, I just have to say, if that bothers you, buckle up. This isn't changing. Like, there were 5,000 10 to 12-year-olds walking that floor offering 50%, and they were sharks. Like, that's not going to change. And another perspective on values and comps, while I'm kind of on a tirade here, like, I'm trying to understand what's going through someone's head more when there is, when there are 5 to 10 data points in the last 2 months of a card, right?
Yep.
And somebody's like, well, I just got to get this. And I'm just trying to get my head around it more. And I know we're old, so sometimes it takes us a little while to catch up, but I really do think the live selling platform has just started to change the mindset a lot of people have. Now, is this a good or bad thing? Depends on how you look at it. So when people are sourcing what they like on Whatnot by deciding, here's what I think I want to pay for it, and they're buying not $20 worth of cards, but $500, $1,000 worth of cards a week, you can tell them that card doesn't sell for $120 because it's $100 all day, but they've seen that card sell on Whatnot for $120 5 times in the last month.
Yeah.
So what do us old heads do with that? Like, we have to at some point factor in that this is happening. It's frustrating. I won't buy there. It's not my business model, but
You can factor in that it's happening And the way that you do that is just by realizing that you're not going to do business with that person.
Sure.
What that person's also going to realize is if they start setting up at shows that they're not going to sell very much, because until platforms like Whatnot start reporting sales to the collation softwares that are out there, those sales aren't real. I know that they're real in that they happened, but they're not real in that they happened. Like there's not a data point other than, somebody's story about it to go by.
Let's put on our empathy hats right now. Let's pour one out for the Beckett catalog guys. We're just feeling a tiny bit of what they must have felt.
Right.
As everybody's like, but eBay said, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
A website? I just think there's another part to the equation. Dealers are this is going to be something we have to figure out, because if it's a perceived reality, it doesn't mean we ever have to sell the cards there, but it's going to be more of a conversation. And dealers are going to at least need to think through, how do I have this conversation when I realize a lot of people being introduced to values in this hobby have been sourcing inventory there. Now, it's not our fault if somebody pays 30% over a value of a card, right?
Right.
However, if that's where people are starting, we're going to have to be prepared as dealers to initiate that conversation to say, are you planning on selling it at Whatnot? Do you have that kind of following? Like, is it there? Like, I don't see that value until I see it in like a verified sale. It's hard for me to say that, but I think that's affecting it a little bit.
Yeah, I think there's something to
but
that.
probably not as much as repackers literally not caring if they're overcomped
Correct.
at the top of the chain.
Yeah.
That has probably had the biggest impact.
Although that leads to another observation from the National this year. Trade nights were great. We did way more business at trade nights,
just sitting
both
at the
buying
table
and selling, than we did on the show floor. However, and if any of you follow me on socials, I put out just a quick little post a few days ago, just my initial thoughts on the National. The case hit market is starting to soften, guys. And the biggest thing that I saw was these trade nights. And when I say these trade nights were huge, I'm talking 8,000 to 10,000 people in a 50,000 square foot room.
It wasn't enough space.
It was crazy. There's probably, 150 large round banquet tables scattered throughout the room.
I mean, one night you and I walked for an hour and a half looking for 2 chairs to sit in.
Yes.
Just hoping somebody would get up.
Yes. And we finally did. But on these tables at any given time, there were thousands of case hits, kabooms, downtowns, gold kabooms, gold downtowns. All the stuff that we've all been conditioned that you're getting 95 to 100% for. And last year at the National, people were getting 110, 115, 120% for that stuff. When I tell you that the vast majority of the stuff that sat on those tables the first hour of the show at trade night was still there at 11 p.m., that is not an exaggeration.
You saw people sitting in dismay and wonder because they were convinced they were going to cash out the first night and have money for the show.
They've been paying 90 to 95% for this stuff for the last 6 months, bringing it to the National to make their 10 to 15% by selling it at 110.
Yeah. Nobody
was paying 110. A lot of guys were asking 120. Nobody was paying it.
Yep.
Nobody.
Yep.
There
were showcases. Now we left Saturday. Friday, like if these cards are that liquid, what the hell are any of them doing in showcases by Friday?
Yeah.
There's only one way.
Yeah.
Well, 2 ways. One, you had a lot more inventory sitting back because you have that many case hits.
Yeah. Well, that's possible because they're not that freaking rare, guys.
Well, yeah. Or people aren't paying what you're asking for them.
Correct.
Now, we do know some people, we have a relationship, they moved a ton of case hits. They moved it at a little bit of a discount.
90%.
90%. And they had, was it 400 of them or 100 of them?
It was $40,000.
Yeah. So you can sell them. You have to price them right. But if everybody is pricing these up and over the market until you start seeing some of those verified transactions online, that market's not going to go up. And the scarcity isn't there to demand it.
No.
Number these things if you need to.
And the repackers that focus on this stuff, it's taking them longer to fill their breaks. That market is starting to soften, and it's really important to understand. And the people who do these repacks, if they're honest, and some of them are, I've had this conversation with a few of them, their buyers in their repacks are not card collectors. They are not card collectors. They are degenerate gamblers.
Easy. Now, you're making a very broad stroke there.
I am making a broad stroke, but it's not an unjustified broad stroke. Maybe the word degenerate isn't the right word, but in general, people aren't buying into these repacks to hit that card and then keep it for themselves.
Okay. The only pushback I'm going to give on you is this. I think there are people that are not degenerate gamblers that literally look at products, some products like that, where they have the checklist, they have the they have the ceiling, and say, this is a higher ROI on a mystery pack. So it's just like, that's got to be in there too.
But
no, it is. There are people that do repacks
Yes.
on a regular basis because rather than spending $500 on a box of wax, they know that the floor is X and they would rather spend $500 on repacks.
Correct. But
That's not a degenerate gambler.
if the only...
There are a lot of them and it's running rampant.
If you are buying into a repack and the only reason that you are buying, or a break, I'll go across the board. If you are buying into any type of fractional thing and your end result is 99 out of 100 times, you are taking what you hit and turning it into cash. That is no different than going to the casino, buying chips, taking what you win and taking it to the cage and cashing it back into cash. You're hoping that you get more cash than you put in. That's gambling.
So stop ripping wax.
Well, do I rip wax?
No, but what? Okay. Wax stops being presented because it is for degenerate gambling.
Well,
Hold on. Let's just play the scenario out.
Yeah.
There's no more wax. There's no more singles.
Well, no, what ends up happening is wax prices come back into the realm of reality for people to actually have this be a hobby that they can enjoy ripping.
Do you think that would happen? Do you actually believe that would be the response that the manufacturers have?
If they... How do market forces work?
Go ahead.
If a product, what we just talked about with downtowns.
Go ahead. I'm letting you.
If people aren't buying it, what's the next step to get them to buy it? You will do what? You lower the price.
Or introduce more patches. Introduce more uptowns. Introduce more. So what you're saying is the opposite of what we're seeing manufacturers
then you flood out the market, which causes
They
prices to go
don't
down.
care.
But at a certain point, they have to care. What happened in the mid-'90s?
Sure.
10
Overprinting.
card businesses, 10 card manufacturers went out of business because shops were sending the wax back to them because nobody was buying it because the value wasn't there.
If the repack market ended tomorrow, what happens to your business, your show business? Be honest.
If the repack market completely ended tomorrow,
How much of a hit?
40%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
do I think...
That's a part of the ecosystem
Yes.
here, too. Like,
And this is not me... Let me make this very clear.
I'm only coming at you because you came with a broad
I
stroke
did,
on
but
that
I
statement.
want to make this very clear because, and I hope that this context makes it into a clip this week. I am not saying that repackers are a problem. That is not what I'm saying. Okay. Repackers are an extremely important part of the overall ecosystem economically in this hobby. And the ethical ones and the good ones should always have a place because, like you said, you can look at a floor, you can look at a ceiling, and you can define your ROI much better than you can buying wax. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that the repackers whose main push is nothing but these case hits
with their inventory.
are catering to people who mostly are not card collectors.
So I understand where you're coming from.
That's what I'm saying.
That does give context. I think the definition of collector is changing on us as we watch the hobby grow because it was a more affordable hobby even 7 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
And can a 16-year-old kid right now actually get into this hobby without having to flip cards to afford the hobby on average? And I would say most can't. most people getting in it. So I think that's a perspective we need to consider. Like,
I don't.
That's
disagree.
if not, it's just a rich person's hobby. That really, it's either you have a lot of disposable income to rip wax and buy whatever,
which it sort of is.
It's not a cheap hobby, but what I'm saying is the content that's been getting served up for the last 5 years has been what? Buying, selling, transaction, comps, blah, blah, blah. I would almost guarantee you, if you went to YouTube 15 years ago to watch, Sports Card Radio walk the National when it was 2,000 people,
right?
What are you going to see? Cool cards, interesting collectibles, stuff that people wanted to actually see.
Yep.
People excited that they found their grail. What you're not going to see is 20 people. I got this at 70. The last comp was 120. Let's go. Hey, Jaden Daniels is going to be the next MVP. Like, it's so baked into what collecting has become, and that's what we both agree is a little broken.
Oh, for sure.
But I think that's why it bleeds together is like, I think most people wanting to be involved in this hobby don't have the luxury anymore of just buying cards. The large majority, you're going to have to sell some of that along the way. Downtowns can be a way to move some money, but with, again, like anything else, a $400 downtown, I can find at any card show, I'm not trying to be arrogant. Anybody that's been doing what we're doing can walk into a card show and find a $400 card and get it for $300.
Yeah.
You won't do that with a downtown. And
No.
it can be a card that people will buy.
Although occasionally you'll do it with them.
Well, if it walks up to our table
Yes.
and they want something else and they know that we pay not 90%, we're
No.
like 75, 80% tops on something like that. But
I mean, that was a total side rant, but based on something that we saw at the National.
yeah,
Long story short,
what a long rant, right?
Long story short, that market is starting to soften. If you're buying that stuff to sell it, don't.
By
overpay
soften, we
for
just
it.
mean that it's probably at 100%.
Yeah, 90 to 100. Not over.
Because a repacker paid 110 and you're not a repacker, like that's the difference is the difference is you not being a repacker, having that stuff sitting out at your table, you're not spending 110%. You're asking other people to spend 110%. That's a big difference.
Let's talk about how many people were at this National. Those of you who come into our comments, those of you who Chicken Little everything, the sky is falling, the hobby is dying, nobody's buying anything.
The market's crashing.
No.
Yeah.
The amount of people that were at the National this year was unlike anything I have ever seen at any National. On Saturday, the line to get into the building went around the building and wrapped 2 blocks down the street.
2 blocks.
It was like nothing I have ever seen in this hobby, and I have been in this hobby for a very long time. Hundreds of millions of dollars were moving in that building over the course of the week. I don't know that it got to $1 billion, but if somebody told me it did, I don't think I'd be shocked. I don't think I'd be shocked. Just the trade nights, millions of dollars every night at the trade nights moving around. The hobby is alive and it is well, and people are spending money. You know what they weren't spending money on? Don't get salty when I say this, guys. They weren't buying your green mosaic retail Jaden Daniels. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody was buying your pink non-numbered J.J. McCarthy's.
I disagree with that take.
I didn't see much of it.
No, most people were chasing after the bigger stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But there were definitely people out there, building out rainbows, buying the cheaper stuff.
Here and there, but in general, there's plenty of money being spent in this hobby.
Yes.
If you are
big money's moving around there.
If you are having a hard time moving your stuff, you either are selling the wrong things that nobody wants, or you want too much money for it.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep. Turnout was so packed. I remember we're walking around trade night at one point, and we just kind of both paused. Like, this chaos is incredible.
Yeah.
Because it almost felt like whether or not there was a show floor or not, like, we're here.
Yeah.
Like, we're transacting. The amount of money moving through that room.
Oh.
I'm watching several 5-figure purchases, and you got somebody who's like 65 years old with their nice vintage out, and some kids breaking out a rack to buy some Mickey Mantles like that they've been saving up all year for. Like, it's alive and well. It's not going anywhere. Like, we're seeing more and more brands, media coming into the space. Barstool was there.
Yeah, our boy Mook.
Our boy Mook. Shout out to Mook with Barstool. He shot a video, and we were just in a clip of it up at Shipshewana. It was awesome seeing him and talk with him for a little bit. But you're seeing more and more around that. Can I talk about influencers for a minute?
Please do, because this was one of my pet peeves at the show.
Okay, listen. The caveat is Gary and I create content. We're clearly aware of that. We do a podcast. We're not your traditional influencer approach to things. However,
we did not film 1 second of content at the National. Not 1 second.
Because we're car dealers. We want to buy and sell cars. Now, should we have captured a little more for all of you? Yes. So the caveat is, do we technically fit into this role? Yes. We're creating content. We're putting it out there. It's on socials, all that.
It ain't like the others, though.
But when I tell you, I do not want to, like, first off, if you have a camera crew, you better have a media badge. And when I say a crew, I don't mean one person following you and filming.
I mean angles.
3 camera angles, an entourage. You're taking up the whole hall. You're blocking off 10 different booths. Nobody cares. It's not that cool. No. And then you got Talon walking around the trade show like he's Baby Billy and
dropping names.
He's like walking slower than everyone, and he's got a big camera rack, and it's almost like an Easter cantata, and Jesus just came out of the tomb, and he's just like a little bit, this and that, or like Baby Billy, I gotta play Teen Just, I gotta show him I'm cool, and it's like, I understand you're creating content, you give cards away, all this kind of stuff too. But at some point when there's 15 people in the room walking through a crowded area, taking up half of the hall, and you can't even look at cards, like
the ego that is involved in that thought process, that's okay, is mind blowing to me. We did determine Eric Michael is not AI.
He's a real human.
He's a real human. He's 3 feet tall.
Oh,
but he is a real human.
Okay.
He's a real human.
That wasn't necessary.
We were shocked.
Why'd you do that?
Because he is.
You want to open up the door to our physical critiques? Well, it's open now.
Listen, I am not a sensitive human. I will tell you all the bad things about me right now and embrace all of them. So, all good. I'm ugly and I'm fat.
I am sensitive.
I wear hats that a lot of people don't like.
I will stay up all night thinking about it. I'll be really bothered.
I won't at all.
One area for improvement. It's not that. So content is a part of the hobby growth. I understand that. There are media lanyards that people got. I would love for there to be like, hey, if you have a media lanyard, here's how many cameras you're allowed to have with you. Here are things you need to be mindful of. If there is a big crowded area, you don't get to block off the whole aisle to shoot a 30-second video of something you didn't even buy. Now, you're not even buying it. Everybody can see it.
Yeah.
Come to the National. Hey, check this out. I don't know. That bugged me a lot.
Some of the content creators in the space did it the right way. You know what the right way is in that environment when there's thousands of people trying to transact business? You take your phone, and as you walk, you hold it in front of your face, and you're not taking up any more space. When you're looking at cards in a booth, you flip the camera around, and you show some cards. There were plenty of really well-respected content creators that did it the right way.
Yeah.
And if it got too crazy, they waited till they got back to their hotel room and sat their phone on a tripod and made some content.
Yep.
They weren't monopolizing the show floor for their own self-aggrandizement.
Yeah, it's a trade-off. All of the influencers would probably say, you guys are missing out tremendously because you're not capturing content on the floor. I think that there's some truth to that.
And I'm okay with that because you know what we will never be? And I promise you this. We will never be the douchebags that need to have 4 cameras following us around.
Name calling. You're really letting it out. Is it because I got onto you about the case hits?
No, but I'm telling you how I feel about it. Like, we'll never be those people.
I don't care if someone creates content and has cameras. I don't care about that.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
That's
not the point.
I just wanted to be mindful of the fact that you're at a show floor. There were some spots where I'm like, you're literally holding up hundreds of people walking through.
Yeah.
And this content isn't even highlighting the dealer.
I finally just walked through their camera shot. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going through your camera shot. Have fun editing that out.
So there was a lot of that. The other thing I found really interesting is just how many influencers wear their own merchandise, just like their logo plastered everywhere. Get your word out, I guess. I mean, it's an opportunity to capitalize.
I just wear other people's stuff.
I would just like to see there be a little more like, hey, if we're doing a quick little 30-second interview with somebody that's a big deal, can we step off to the side of this where there's a little room? And a lot of people did that. We did see some. The Talon one I couldn't let go of because the trade night was so crowded you couldn't walk. And he's just slow walking through there with a jersey, huge camera behind him with a big monitor.
Yeah.
Like, bro, what are we doing here? Anyway. Trade nights. I don't know if you guys knew this. We're rounding third base here. I don't know if you knew this.
What did I not know?
Apparently, the second or third night where these hotel lobbies were like packed with trade nights and like YouTube meetups and all this kind of stuff, which the relationship piece is a huge part of the National. They were approached in these hotel lobbies and told, hey, per our vending agreement with the National, we're not allowing any card trade nights to happen in the lobbies because the National has their own trade nights.
Sponsored.
Now, whether or not that was true or just their way of getting people out of the room, that was an interesting take. So here's my proposal to the National crew. That's fine. You need 150,000 more square feet for people to act like we had VIP and all access VIP. We couldn't find seats for trade night. So
unless you wanted to get in line 2 hours
if
early.
you want to go full on Fanatics and monopolize it, then I think we need another 100,000 square feet of space. Or can we not think creatively and partner with these spots? Yeah. Here's who's hosting this night.
Multiple trade rooms at the same time.
I mean, you could have fun with it too. You have a vintage trade room. You could do a case head. You could do
They tried in the trade room to have it marked off like this is the baseball area.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
Nobody cared. Nobody cared.
Yeah. Celebrity scene was crazy there too. Man, what else? I mean, we've been going on and on.
Last one, and it's a point that I think is very, very much needs to be hit on if you plan to go to the National and do any kind of major buying and selling, and you don't have a table. Relationships matter.
Yeah.
Spend the next year getting to know the bigger dealers, getting to know the people who may be interested in your high dollar cards.
Your local shop owners.
Yeah, getting to know the people who have the type of stuff in their value boxes that you need and want. And go into the National armed with those relationships. The biggest buy that we had for the business was with the owner of a LCS local to us, and we've developed a relationship with them. They know that we're going to spend money, that we're not going to beat them up on price. They're going to be fair with us. We're going to be fair with them. We consider them a friend. And we got there, the very first booth we went to. We sprinted through everything.
Well,
Sprint for fat guys.
We walked at a normal pace, but we were sweating.
We power walked for us. To get to this booth first.
Yeah.
And not only did we get pretty close to first shot at the boxes they had out, owner says, hey, why don't you guys come back here? There's about 10 more boxes back here that we were planning on putting out throughout the week. Go ahead and dig through those too. And those kind of relationships are what is going to help catapult your business. This has to be a mutually beneficial thing. We talk about this all the time at shows with other dealers. Somebody comes to buy or sell stuff, buy stuff from us or sell stuff to us. Long-term customers know that we're going to probably pay them a little better than we would the random person that we're never going to see again. And they know that we're going to take care of them. If you come to my table and you want to buy my stuff at 80%, but you insist on selling me your stuff at 90%, that doesn't work. So building mutually beneficial relationships is so important. And if you're able to do that, everything gets easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely worth the investment. And we've been asking for that type of stuff for a while. Some dealers just say, hey, I'll have a bunch of it at the National. They literally have like a separate bucket of inventory throughout the year. So those relationships are huge. The one thing I realized too is we are on an island when it comes to content creators in this space. We have to do a better job of reaching out to some others and probably building that out a little bit more. But of course, name calling, making statements about stature and me calling somebody Jesus at an Easter pageant probably.
Well, one of the things that you guys know, if you've listened to us for any period of time, is one of the things we are not is fake. We're going to tell you what we honestly think and feel.
We are real, obnoxious.
What else you got? Anything?
I think that's a nice way to tie a bow on it. We keep it real. This has been the Ballcard Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye now.
Peace.